So when you go back and you take a look at, that early era of Glenn Jacobs, I've seen interviews with The Undertaker who said that he really enjoyed working with him, but he felt like he needed to be, I forget the word, intense, aggressive. Aggressive was the word. He wanted Glenn to be more aggressive. And you just sort of in passing said, hey, he had failed in those other two gimmicks. Do you think there is I mean, Isaac Yankem DDS will table for a minute, but could anybody have made fake Diesel work long term? Do you think? Is there a way to make that work, or was that always going to be a blip?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I think that sometimes the second incarnations are better than the first, and other times they're not. So that was, I think that the Diesel and Razor characters portrayed by Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were so strong and
Yeah.
ingrained in the mind, and it was too soon.
Mm. I don't
So
know. So,
people are going to compare them, and they were very good.
yeah. And then no matter what, I mean, whoever puts on the Diesel gear after Kevin Nash, it feels like a tribute band. It feels like a cover band rather than the original. Isaac Yankem DDS, though, I mean, I get like on paper, I get why people make fun of that, but I also get why in the occupational era that could have worked. Like you and I have talked about how, boy, a lot of people just didn't get Doink, but what a great character that is. And an evil dentist, there's a lot of people who do have a big fear of going to the dentist and, oh, it's going to hurt and, oh, it's going to be painful. Um, do you think just the delivery of Isaac Yankem DDS, the timing wasn't right, or was it a little over the top campy? Is there a way to make an evil dentist work, do you think, even now?
Oh yeah. You examine fear, and you examine people fear. People fear clowns, people fear Santa Claus, and people fear the dentist and the boogeyman.
Yeah.
So it was a natural fear of a dentist, somebody that goes in and messes with your teeth. It's terrible. I fear the dentist. Whatever that phobia is, I have it. Okay. If I can hear drilling or I can smell that disgusting smell in a dentist's office, I break out in a cold sweat. And the amount of drugs to get me to stay seated in a dentist chair is lethal. Um, the day after Michael Jackson died, I was in a dentist chair to get
Oh no.
some work done, and the only way I can get my teeth cleaned is I'm out. I've got to be completely sedated. Cannot be awake in any way, shape, or form. Not gas, none of that stuff. I've got to be IV in, snoring. Got to be out. So I understood this. I understood the terror,
Yeah.
and the fear people have of the dentist. People hate the dentist. It is an easy person to hate. You don't have to know them. But what they do is they inflict pain. And they will inflict pain along the lines of, I'm here to help you while I rip your teeth out and make you hurt for the next 6 weeks, whatever the hell it is.
Right.
So that premise, that's an easy premise. I think that we went too goofy with the vignettes. I think we went too goofy with the presentation. I think having Lawler a part of it just took it over the top and to the silly realm.
I see.
And it's then there was a dentist I went to in Houston one time that was a big jacked up guy like Glenn, but just his bodybuilder, big, just jacked it, and that added to my terror. Because usually, all the dentists I'd been to up to that point was little, old Doc Charles. He played golf with my dad and shit. And, hey, how you doing, Bruce? And
Yeah.
does my teeth and did everything he could not to hurt me.
Right.
And I go to this guy, and he's just like, "Ah," and just, God, it was terrifying. So, Glenn, the look I liked.
Right.
And then you go back and you think of Dr. Sam Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
And, you couldn't get more serious than that. The guy was a murderer, or
Allegedly.
alleged murderer. And he had allegedly killed his wife and was still doing promos about it. Think of that. And here he is. He's a character as a professional wrestler. And he's still cutting promos on the, I didn't kill my wife. Using that time and that persona. He took the persona that everybody gave him
and just embraced it.
So there was a genuine fear. And then he had this very, diabolical, man. He got the mandible claw and you're incapacitated. And if you've ever done the mandible claw and you know how to do it properly, then it hurts like a sumbitch.
I'm fascinated with these origins of these characters. I do want to ask, the OG story, and I know we've touched on it before, but boy, it was years ago. When The Undertaker is first introduced as a character, he's known as Kane the Undertaker for a cup of coffee, and we quickly just go with The Undertaker. Was there ever any thought given to explaining that maybe he was using that as a tribute to his brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was how I came up with the name.
Okay.
Came up with the name Kane because I like the name. Kane was the first man to ever commit murder. Cain and Abel killed his own brother. That was the basis in Kane the Undertaker.
Right.
So then it came down to, can you give his brother the name Kane and explain that early on Undertaker had taken his brother's name as a tribute to his brother who had died in this fire, perished in this horrible blast, this horrible fire. And now it all makes sense why he was Kane the Undertaker. And then he couldn't even, because every time they introduced him as Kane the Undertaker, that was another thought about his brother dying. So Undertaker couldn't do it. He couldn't continue on that way because it brought back such horrible memories, flooded his brain and just flooded his head that he could no longer. It was a mental anguish that he could no longer take, so he dropped it. And now Kane, his actual baby brother, is alive. First, he's excited because he wants to meet his baby brother. He doesn't want to meet him. He wants to see him again. But it's been years. It's been 20 years. He wants to see his baby brother. Where have you been? I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And he was robbed of that. He was robbed of the fact that his baby brother alive, and he could have been there. He could have done something more for him. But he was told all along by the man he trusted most, Paul Bearer, that he was dead. And that's an awful lot to weigh on a kid, on an adult, on anybody. And now you tell me he's alive, but I don't believe you, man, because I was there at his funeral. I was a child, but I was there. Not even Paul Bearer could be this evil. But yet, there are people that are that evil.